We're here talking about the 25th anniversary of Child's Play of Chucky. Don, you really stand out amongst horror as this unique person because you've written every one of these films. What's it been like to see how this character has taken off and changed throughout pop culture?
It's been amazing. I mean, when I was a horror fan since I was a little kid, so if I had known when I was, 8 years old or 10 years old that a character that I wrote would be embraced by audiences and become so popular, I would have been thrilled, and I am thrilled.
Mm-hmm. And Jennifer, what was it like for you when you joined the franchise? A few movies in, but it was a really sort of an important turning point for the films.
Don dragged me into the Chucky franchise, kicking and screaming. I sort of thought when you do a Chucky movie, it's the end of your career, but I was mistaken. But it was actually the end of my career as I knew it, because before that I'd done all kinds of movies. I've been nominated for Academy Award, and now all everybody remembers is that immortal line that Don wrote: "I'm nominated for Academy Award, now I'm a puppet." So can you say that on the show?
Why not?
Well, I just did. So, but it sort of introduced me to an entirely new fan base. And I have to say, I go around the world and people just point at me and they scream, "Chucky, Chucky." Like sometimes that's the only word of English they know. So I used to have people like discoursing with me about what it was like working with Woody Allen or, Jim Carrey or Peter Bogdanovich. And now they just point at me and scream, "Chucky."
Are you saying I ruined your career?
Oh, no. I wouldn't. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you introduced me to a worldwide audience.
That sounds much nicer.
Yeah. But you know what? The Chucky fans, they're the best fans in the world. I mean, they never, ever, ever go away, even though you want them to sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Don, what do you think the secret was, the alchemy of, finding that right thing that struck a chord with people?
Fiona's like looking at me because she's watched me answer this question 5 million times.
I'm not the first person to ever ask you that.
You're not.
Oh my
God. I'm trying to think of an original way to answer it. It's, there are a number of things. I mean, I think that there's just something about dolls that people have a primal response to because they're distortions of the human form. So they look like people but slightly off, and I think we just have a natural recoil from that when they're, put in the correct context with the right lighting. And for Chucky specifically, I just think he's funny. There's just something delightful in a dark way about this guy, this character that just loves what he does so much. Yeah, and I think Brad's performance also is just indelible.
Mm-hmm. And Jennifer, you're talking about fan reaction. There's a lot of Chucky merchandise out there, but there's a lot of Tiffany merchandise too now.
Well, according to Universal, there's no Tiffany merchandising because I have a percentage of Tiffany merchandising, and they go, "What? We don't. We haven't sold any Tiffany dolls." And I say, "What are those big ugly things that people are always handing me to sign?" And then I finally got my first check after like 20 years for Tiffany merchandising, and I think it was for $37. Right. So yeah, there's no Tiffany merchandising out there apparently.
That aside, though, is it still pretty cool though to see that this character too has taken off with people?
I'm getting now. I'm on Twitter and all my characters are called all the people following me. They're all called Chucky and Tiffany Bitch and Tiffany Ray. And there's this one girl. She's like, "I'm waking up this morning. I'm having another baby." I'm like, oh my God! Like I followed her by accident, and I can't unfollow her because I'm afraid she might kill me. But I get pictures from people. They dress up like I actually dressed up like Chucky last year. There was actually a sexy Chucky Halloween costume, and I was like, I want to be sexy, and I know Chucky, so I put on the red wig, and Chucky has never looked so good. It's like you have like red thigh highs and then like really low cut striped shirt. I'm sure you get a percentage of those Chucky costumes. And then
what
like
Chucky costume?
I'm gonna send
you. They didn't tell me about that.
Did I send you a picture of me dressed like Chucky? Yeah. I was hot.
I dressed as Chucky, but I think you probably did it better.
Well, you probably weren't wearing the sexy Chucky outfit.
I couldn't pull that one off. Don, obviously we have Curse of Chucky out now, the 6th film in the series. What was your approach on this one? Because we've seen Chucky in such different types of movies. What did you want to do with this one?
Well, after doing the comedy route with Bride and Seed, I think that we'd mined that pretty successfully. But after Seed, fans had really been clamoring for Chucky to be scary again, to be a legitimate threat again. And I go on websites it's my favorite procrastination activity when I'm supposed to be writing is to go on websites and read about what fans are talking about regarding Chucky. They wanted him to be scary again, so that was our approach with this. And I was really looking forward to it as a director because I'd only directed Seed before, which was a comedy, so I was really looking forward to doing a straight-up gothic horror movie and flexing a different set of creative muscles and kind of using the camera in a fancier way and trying to be Brian De Palma, Alfred Hitchcock, Dario Argento, that bring that vibe to it. Because we'd never seen Chucky in a gothic before, specifically. Right. With the thunderstorm, it all takes place in one spooky house over the course of one stormy night. And I thought that situation would create an interesting pressure cooker, for just in an Agatha Christie kind of way.
A sense of claustrophobia.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to say something about Dawn, is that Dawn is a true horror movie lover. Like, ever since I met Dawn, I've been introduced to how amazing horror movies are, and we we have movie screenings, and he watches horror movies many times. And so when you see his movies, you always see all homages to other films and references. And when we did Seed of Chucky, he went to Italy to get the guy that did the music for Brian De Palma's Blowout. And I think that's why people really respond to his material, is that he's always looking for a way to reinvent Chucky and make the movie that he would want to see him, because he is a horror movie lover. He makes movies that he would love to see. I give you props. You put me in the next movie.
Well, that leads me into my last question, Don, which is what is the future for the franchise? There was talk a couple years ago about more of a true reboot. What is the next 25 years of Chucky?
Well, I think Curse of Chucky is the reboot. That I don't think there's any reason to tell the story of Child's Play 1 over again. I mean, it's not necessarily that I always get my way with these things, but that right. I think what our intent with Curse was to initiate a new cycle of scary Chucky movies, and hopefully this one will go over well enough that we'll do that more quickly than the 9-year lapse.
They just released it the other day, and it's selling 180% more than projections. That's a lot of percent. I'm no math genius, but it sounds good to me. I'm looking for my 3%.
But you are you are a professional poker player, so you know something about math. So
right.
It sounds good. 180%.
Sounds good.
Well, go get your copy now, guys. Thanks so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.